Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Point of View, where we have no fluff, it's all talk and podcast giving you the latest in Arizona sports here in the Valley of the Sun in professional sports and beyond. So, with heart and heat and the unfiltered edge, I'm your host, Joanna Rosalie, and we've got a stacked show for you today. We're diving into the Phoenix Mercury red hot run start in the WNBA, breaking down some big updates from Arizona State's men and women's basketball programs. And we'll take you also to the Valley Suns and talk a little bit about what's going on there. So we have a special guest joining us today here that just knows everything in Arizona sports, and he dives into it: local sports, professional sports, high school, college, the whole thing. So he's gonna join us now to weigh in on all of this inside and out. He's a sports reporter and all around expert. So I'm excited to have him on. He is a reporter and anchor at Sports 360 AZ, covering, like I mentioned, everything around the valley. So you'll see him on social media. You may have seen him at, one of the games, Mercury or the Valley Suns, or at college. Eliav, Gabay is here on the mic. Welcome to Sports Point of View. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to talk some Valley sports with you.
Joanna, thank you for having me. There's so much that we could talk about, so I'm very, very excited. It's a great time of year to chat about sports that have already closed, sports that are in the middle of it, and the future coming up this year. So I'm ready. I'm ready, and let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Yeah, you're ready to go ahead and dig in, right?
Yeah,
We have a huge feast here prep for everyone.
that's right. That's right. It's hot outside, and it's hot in this pod right now. So
Gosh.
we are ready to go. I know you and I have been talking about a lot of these topics off camera for a while, so
Yes.
this is really just bringing our normal conversation and just putting it on the camera.
Definitely. Talking about hot, if you're not in Phoenix, oh my gosh, it is over 110 degrees here. I'm indoors. I have the AC at, I don't know, like 75, 73, I don't know. And I'm sweating. I don't know about you, but I'm like, I have a short sleeve, my hair is in a bun, and I am still sweating here. And I'm
Oh.
not nervous. Just mind you, I do this. I'm used to
Yeah.
being on a mic and on camera, and I'm sweating.
Oh yeah, no. When it comes to this time of year, it's in the pool or in the AC. There's no in between, and in the pool is already pushing it. So I'm with you 100%. The AC it's off right now, but it's been working hard all day, like we have.
Oh my goodness, seriously. There's like no stopping here, full grind, like pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and get started. There's so much basketball that's going on right now, Eliav. I'm gonna call you E. Is that okay?
That's great.
I don't want to mispronounce your name. It's not a hard name for me to say, but with my Spanish language speaking tongue, I'm scared I'm gonna call you a name that I'm,
Oh,
one of my
it's all
family
good.
members.
It's all good. I've gotten it all. I've gotten every name thrown my way. Every Elliot, Elias, I've gotten it all. So no worries. E works great.
Oh, okay, I appreciate it. But I love your name. My mom's name is Elia,
Oh,
so
there we go.
yours just has Eliav. But I'm scared. I'm
Yeah,
gonna I don't want to, leave out the V.
yeah, yeah. No worries,
uh,
no worries.
but with just the basketball we're talking,
Yeah,
so much that's happening. We have the NBA finals. We have the WNBA happening, among other things that are happening in college basketball, which we'll also get into here. So we cannot not talk about this. Is the NBA finals.
yeah,
We have many people wanted for this to happen, and also many were skeptical about having a game 7 between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's something we haven't seen in NBA basketball like ever. And it seems, I don't know, at least for me, Is this something different from what you were used to? Because you're just seeing all these like big, you're seeing the Lakers, you see the, the Phoenix Suns, I'll say,
Yes,
but that
yeah,
hurts a
I
little bit.
know, I know. Yeah,
The Spurs, Dallas,
right. The smaller
Miami,
markets don't always get
but
their
the two
chance. Yeah,
smaller markets like
yeah.
that, like it's unseen. But it's been a good and exciting one, and a lot of surprises.
Oh my God. This is what NBA basketball is all about. This is what I love about NBA basketball. We've seen now the full power of parity, people, the full power of what it means when the league is in balance. Like as soon as you got to even the semifinals and you saw you're going to get a new champion, first of all, and then
Gosh,
between everyone, it's the Knicks, the Pacers, which is an old rivalry renewed, right? And then the Timberwolves and the Thunder, which is a newer rivalry going on now, slowly developing. And, the defensive teams, the offense, you got the Knicks that were grind out type of team full of honestly veterans that I would have been okay with them making it, even though a lot of people have
same.
their opinions about the
They
Knicks.
have three ex-sons in that team, so that would have been fabulous if that would have happened. I wouldn't have
That's
been mad
right.
at that.
Okay, so that's the thing, right? I feel like from the Suns fans around here, they kind of had mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
They want to see their guys win, but they also it hurts also to see them win. So I get it. But even with them, and then you got Anthony Edwards coming up, one of the young superstars. I think I'm comfortable saying superstars of the league at
Yes.
this point. I think he's crossed into that at this point. So either way, that would have been fun, right? But then you have this great matchup of the favorite and the underdog. And then look at head coach of the Pacers, Rick Carlisle, getting it done once again. Even if they don't win it, Rick Carlisle showing that he is a playoff coach, that he has got it figured out. Of course, what I'm referencing is his Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki beating the Heatles, the Miami Heat, led by LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They beat them back in the day. And now again, going in as the underdog with the Pacers, getting a chance to win this. And, last time Rick Carlisle won, that was back in 2011. So for him to
It's been that
show,
long.
I
Time
know, right?
flies.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like so long ago, but it really, I guess it was. I guess I'm aging myself a little bit, but that's the way it goes. No, but really good on him. And then also seeing the Arizona part of this finals come out has been very fun. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, a Perry product from right here in our backyard, dropping
It gives me
40
chills.
in game 5. I mean, how amazing. And he's only getting better and better, people. This is just the beginning of
Just
J-Dub.
starting.
He's just starting, and he's a two-way guy. Once he gets that shot consistent, oh boy, oh boy.
I'm scared.
Yeah, like he is legit, and he's in legit contention for the finals MVP. Legit. So, kudos to him. And then, of course, we got the other Arizonans in Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell stealing the stage. We got people talking about how he should win finals MVP if they end up winning the whole thing. I mean, and I'm not one to argue that, because you know what? One of the special things about the Pacers that we've seen is their depth. That's what's part of made the difference. The bench has been such a big difference in this series. Not only TJ McConnell, obviously, you got Obi Toppin sometimes starting, sometimes not, the different matchups. But as we know, Joanna, the playoffs and, of course, the finals are about matchups. It's all about matchups. And what we've seen is the Pacers are a good matchup for this OKC team that won, 68 games? That is nothing to scoff at. Best defense in the league. Shea deserved the MVP. I get it. Jokic is amazing, and it feels like that D Rose MVP in the middle of LeBron's.
Hey, I'm glad that the Joker is not in the finals, because I was scared that he was gonna get there again. I was like, I am not watching this, and I'm like, I am totally gonna avoid anything NBA finals if that happens. Like, mad respect for the guy, for real. But just sometimes seeing him, it hurts, and I'm still sour about, of course, that time for the Suns. that was a major burn. But go
Listen,
on.
I get it. I think a lot of Phoenix fans and Phoenicians in general will agree with you that they did not want to see Joker do it again and again and again. Even though, I'll tell you what, talking with Ann Myers Drysdale, our local Hall of Famer over here, we were both agreement that, you know what, it is fun to see greatness, though. It's fun to watch greatness, and that man is absolutely great. But like I said earlier, I'm so happy. I'm with you. I'm so happy that it wasn't him, and we get a fresh face. We get a fresh vibe. And again, how amazing is it that we didn't really know going into the playoffs who for sure would be the one to win it all? Of course, most people would say the Celtics were the favorites. That's completely fair, and they were the favorites for good reason. But as it goes on, now we see the matchups come along. The Lakers got smacked up. All these teams that you were expecting to maybe do something more. This is where you get this is what I would call a hoop head heaven finals.
Yes,
Hoop
this is what
heaven.
you want.
Yeah, this is what real basketball fans love. And then they deliver like this. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, John.
And the reason why I also love this matchup in teams like, smaller markets and like what we're seeing now in the finals is you have a chance to have new starts, new stars.
Yeah.
New stars are, created, they come out, or they're built, and
they're born
they have
on the stage, right?
Yeah, they get that limelight. Sometimes it can be for a short time, or you get to, they can highlight their performance. You can get to see how great they are, and not that you haven't seen it before, but just in that grand stage, it just grows so much more.
And one of those players that, of course, and I almost didn't mention him when I was talking about the Arizona factor of this finals, but one of those players that we all know well in this area is Luguentz Dort doing his thing again on the big stage. And I've just seen more and more respect tossed his way, how humble he is, how he just gets his job done. It's really impressive to see his growth in the league and to see him embrace his role, as a defender, as not only a defender, one of the best defenders in the league, first team all defense. I mean, come on, Lou Dort. And we just spoke with Bobby Hurley not too long ago about, him talking to Lou Dort. And of course, he's so proud, and no one is surprised because this has always been the guy that Lou has been. Even when I covered him when he was a freshman in the Pac-12, RIP, for the Pac-12, and he was fantastic. He was always fantastic. He was always great with us as student media at the time, and he's just grown up right in front of our eyes, and it's just been so great to see because it's one of those guys that he deserves it. And you're happy for him when you see him do his thing and embrace his role on this stage. So we'll see. Either way, Arizona has reason to be happy. Either way, for the best two words in sports, Game 7 coming up.
Yeah. So I have, the drum roll, please. Who wins Game 7?
Oh boy. Oh man, this is so tough. Oh gosh, and just a few days ago, I did have the Pacers winning it all because of their depth. But at the end of the day, this is why you earn home court advantage, right, Joanna? Like, this is the whole thing. This is why you win 68 games. So you get to do it at home in front of your fans, just like that Lakers Celtics 2010 Game 7 was crazy. And you could argue that if it was played in Boston, that Boston would have won it at the end of it. But the Lakers pulled it out. And I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen here, but I am going to go with the Thunder. and that's a tough one for me to say because I have loved what I've seen out of the Pacers and their depth, especially their depth where you never know who's going to step up. And that's the beauty of the playoffs. That's the point of the playoffs. Someone else needs to step up. But I will say, to me, the difference in the playoffs a lot of the times is having the best player on the court. And you could argue that OKC has the top two players on the court in Jalen Williams and, of course, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So that's why I'm going to lean OKC, but don't be surprised if the Pacers do something special, because I am ready for it, and we are all going to have hand in popcorn 100% come Sunday. I just want a good game. I just want a good game.
I will definitely be tuned in, but you
Yeah.
know what? With what I've seen of the finals and what I've seen of the Pacers and having them come back and win literally in the last half second of a game or two, it's like, holy smokes. That's for me why I lean towards the Pacers, because like you mentioned earlier, the bench and how they have just come out and performed and beyond expectations, at least for me.
Yeah.
And them literally pulling those wins out of like their back pocket.
Yeah.
I
A
would
few
not be
times throughout the
surprised.
playoffs. A few times.
Throughout the playoffs a few times, and I'm gonna go with the Pacers.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Split decision. We're gonna come back around to this. Someone's gonna have bragging rights. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
I love it.
So we'll see. I am a little bit of a Miller fan too, so that's but just overall seeing them, what they've done, I have to go with that. Hey, you have to have a 50-50 too, so you can't always lean all one way either.
Yeah, when this series started, I'll admit it. I said OKC in 6 before the series started, and I knew that'd be a tough 6 no matter what. So I'm so glad to be wrong either way, because it's going 7. We all win. We all win when it goes to 7. So
yeah.
So I'm happy about that no matter what. So we'll see. We'll see.
Just don't hate me before we move on to talking some more basketball. And sometimes people hate me when I say this. Not that I'm trying to jinx anything.
God.
But a game 7 and overtime.
Oh.
Oof. Because of the way this finals has been, that's what I want to see on Sunday.
Listen, what we know for sure is people are going to be sacrificing their bodies. Everyone's going to be hitting the deck. Like, it is going to be absolute madness. So, yes, I could see overtime. And, I mean, any free basketball at this point would be a blessing. So, I'll take it. I hope you're right.
All right. So, from one court to another, we're going to go to the Phoenix Mercury now and some WNBA basketball. The team has come out swinging this season, or shooting, as to say.
Yeah.
They're like showing their grit, their chemistry is coming together. They have that championship DNA in this like new team. They have their players coming back from injury. Still have some struggles, throughout as they, go ahead and get, coming back and get through that to full health. But we are seeing them back on the court. These players just stepping up. Like Whitcomb, Lexi Held, Mo, like, oh my gosh, it's just been amazing. And then now that you have Alyssa Thomas back, you have Kalia Copper, to returning to the court, is just like, just blows my mind. So, and with the new additions, everything's just clicking into place for them, and they're just looking dialed in and having some matchups and stand-up performances and records. We saw Alyssa Thomas at Connecticut, with her career record as well. It's just been phenomenal to see, and it's kind of like almost they didn't skip a beat from there's been so much change, yes, but still keeping that excitement with the Mercury, and that those expectations, of course, are high. So I'll say for our listeners or viewers, if you're seeing us, if you're sleeping on the WNBA, like, come on, please wake up.
Time to
Not
wake up.
Not only because the Mercury are cooking, literally, but women's sports, women's basketball, the WNBA has exponentially grown so much. And you know what? women's basketball is so much better than men's because they don't cry and they kick your behind. They're not
Woo!
shy. They get in your face.
Hey, listen, no better time than now. No better time than now to hop on the bandwagon. We will welcome you all with open arms. Let just tune into this good basketball. Good basketball. And I've heard more and more people say what you were saying, Joanna, that they actually sometimes they're really enjoying this game more than the men's because of how much more tactical it is. Honestly, right now, that passion, that fire is in the WNBA. I mean, we're talking about physicality to a level that we're not seeing as much in the NBA all the time anymore. That's
You
why,
know,
remember
sorry, go
watching the
ahead.
Olympics? No, it's all good. Remember watching the Olympics? That was almost like a breath of fresh air watching the Olympics. It was like, whoa, look at this basketball. Look at this proper, beautiful poetry type of basketball. You know, it was different. It kind of made, and I'm a huge NBA fan, but it kind of made me feel like, dang, maybe we need to, go back and fix a couple things, So what were you going to
Definitely.
say? Yeah.
No, exactly, along the lines that you're saying, because the Olympics basketball, oh my gosh, both men and women. Of
Yeah.
course, there are different rules, but so much more exciting, so much grit, so much more fight in that. And the NBA now, some people might hate me for saying this, but this is what I see. It's a lot like the men's soccer.
Oh, interesting.
And a lot of crying, a lot of whining, yes, you have your games and you have like you have moments, you have your matchups or your rivalries. But the NBA isn't what it used to be. And I've had this conversation with many, many people and many of us sports journalists. And, it's not I'm now dating myself as well. The basketball that I saw growing up in the 90s. It was getting in there, getting in people's faces, that competition, like, you don't have that now. Like someone touches you, you're crying, or you have a foul, or they're not calling. Well, we'll get into that. Not calling a foul. It's just a whole like it's like a telenovela. NBA and soccer. That's what I see.
Yeah, yeah, and Stephen A. is in both of them, the telenovelas
Exactly.
and over in the NBA world. And one thing I will say is I think a lot of that is on the league, trying to clean up things, trying to make it a faster pace, right? So the hand checking is gone from what it used to be. But at the end of the day, if a guy dunks on someone or blocks the crap out of them, they should be able to stare them down. Like that's part of the emotion. That's part of
Yes.
the game. You should be able to tell someone when you just crossed them up and broke their ankles, like that is part of it. So I'm definitely with you in that regard. When it comes to the league as a whole. Now, we can get more into that right now, and then come back around to the Mercury if you want, since we're kind of on
Oh
the
no,
spot.
no, no. We can probably like stay there the entire hour. So
Okay. Well, I will. So we'll come back around to the physicality element because we are going to talk a little bit about
yes.
Caitlin Clark and that whole element. So we'll come back around. So let me reel it in because I'm about to. I'll go. I can go in forever about all this stuff. Just
Same.
specifically on the Mercury. Yeah, Nate Timmons as the head coach and Nick Uren as the GM. They had a big task this offseason to try and revamp this Mercury roster. No Diana Taurasi, obviously Brittany Griner moving on to the Atlanta Dream, and that wasn't a surprise by any means, but it definitely is a challenge and was a challenge going into this one. And wow, I mean, talk about passing with flying colors as far as the reset. Bringing in an MVP, a perennial MVP candidate in Alyssa Thomas, an up-and-coming star in Satu Sabali, and making sure you retain and build around the current star that you have, of course, in Kalia Copper, and then finding the right supporting cast around them. And some of that supporting cast is people that were not on anybody's radar coming into this year,
At
which,
all. Not even on
again,
my radar.
yeah, you got to give them credit for that. Doing the homework, doing the research. A lot of people coming from overseas to come and help. You just mentioned her earlier. Of course, we can talk about the stars, but let's talk about the others right now. And Akoa Makani filling in.
Gosh,
They beat the Liberty in New York
it's
against
insane.
Natasha Cloud, who we know wanted that revenge. We know she wanted
And the
that revenge.
champs.
Yes, the champs. Akoa Makani stepping up without Kalia Copper. 21 points, 6 assists. Are you kidding me? And then, of course, Laxa has been doing her thing since she came over. Westbeld has been doing her thing. Like you mentioned, Held has been one of the best rookies that I've seen. You know,
Goodness
like
gracious.
what great supporting cast it's been through all the injuries, through all of that. And the main thing I want to give credit to this team about is sticking by their word this offseason, sticking by their word that they want to hang their hats on the defensive end. And that's exactly what we've seen all year. And of course, her nickname is the engine for a reason. Alyssa Thomas just getting these ladies revved up every play on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end, getting that ball moving. And we know, Joanna, energy through ball movement. That's how it happens. When the ball moves, it's contagious. And when arguably your best player is focused on moving the ball, that inspires everyone to, first of all, move the ball, but know they're going to get the ball and have the confidence to know that I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to put this thing up. And we've seen, just like Nate Tibbetts has wanted, that shot profile has been exactly on point with the threes, the layups. Obviously, that's the new era in general of basketball, positionless, as we've seen. And you know, them doing a good job. Natasha Mack kind of finding herself again, slowly shaking the rust off, getting back into it. We know what she's capable of. And then Kalani Brown holding it down as the biggest big on the team. You know, obviously 6'7", no joke there. But, you know, with their top 3 in steals, top 5 in rebounds. I mean, this team is legit. And I was talking to my mentor and boss, our main guy at Sports 360 AZ. You've seen him. He's big, 6'6". He's bald. Brad Sesmat. I've talked to him a lot about this team before the season, and he kept asking me, are you sure? Are you just being positive? Are you sure this team is good? And you know what? He's reflective of what a lot of Phoenix fans, I think, are like, and Mercury fans, who we know, the X Factor, one of the best fan bases in the league by far. We know that. Even them, they're a little bit like, hey, no Diana, no Brittany. What am I supposed to hold on to here? And even I'll tell you what I told him. This team is going to do something this year. It's at least going to make the playoffs. This was preseason. Obviously now now the standard is much higher than just making the playoffs. Now we know that they can compete with anyone on any given night, which is what we expect.
After beating the champs. Come on.
Right? I mean, yeah, and without Kalia, right? So I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons now, but let's just, you know, back then it was just they're going to be good, and you're going to see that they're going to be good. When you construct a roster with a big 3, and now we'll talk about the stars, with the big 3 that complement each other so well, right? Like, you know, everyone loves the Suns. I know they're going through a lot. I'm not trying to hate on the Suns right now, but the big 3, the reason
you're in my head. Get out of my head.
I know. I didn't mean to get in your head. You know, we're on the same page. That's a good thing. It's a good team. It's a good team. We're on the same page. And that's exactly why, actually, I think this Mercury Big 3 works so well, because they are on the same page, because their skills complement one another. Alyssa Thomas being a defensive anchor and Kalia Copper being great defensively on the perimeter, and Satu Sabali having the athleticism to be strong on defense. That's a big part of what works on that side. And on the other end, we've already seen it a little bit. We haven't had a chance to see it too much because Kalia has only played a couple of games in the regular season. Of course, she rested against the Liberty. But we've already seen the 2-woman game between Alyssa Thomas and Kalia Copper, and the cuts and picks and off-ball movement works so well. And then you mentioned her earlier, Sammy Whitcomb, coming off those screens. Like, you gotta pay attention to everyone. And then Satu Sabali has been a tough shot maker all year long, making tough shots and showing why she is the unicorn and what she has been working on. And listen, you've been to those practices like I have. She's staying later than everybody almost every time that I've seen, and she's there early. I mean, Satu has been so focused, and every time she's been asked about this new era of Mercury basketball, she's consistently given a ton of respect to the past, and knowing that filling those shoes of Diana and Brittany is a difficult task, and it has to come with a lot of passion, and it's got to be a labor of love. And that's exactly what it's been for Nate Tibbetts, Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, and the whole gang.
And they had tremendous, not big, but tremendous shoes to fill, and they filled those. And like why I said get out of my head earlier was because exactly as you were talking about that, I'm thinking Suns, like, come on, like tear a page out of the Mercury's book. We won't go down that rabbit hole because then we won't get out of it. Then we'll run out of time. But that's going to be a conversation for another podcast. But they just have all the pieces, and just want to piggyback off of what you said is they've stood by their word. Everything that they said preseason, what they said at media day, they've come together and they've shown it. And I just want this is the only thing I will say about the Suns, and then I will move on to the another.
I'll piggyback off of you real quick about it, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is Phoenix Suns had media day, and they've come out, and Jordan, I'm not trying to shame anyone or any, what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Only because we've heard the things before. We've been told the pretty things, we've been, kind of like when you're going on that first date, or you're like, meeting someone and telling each other all the pretty things, right? This is our third season facing that. Is it going to happen? Are they going to stand up? Yes, now they have a fully dedicated GM and BG. They have not Brittany Griner, but Brian, I forget his last name right now. They call him BG. We have Jordan Ott as the head coach. So, hopefully that all those pretty things that they said, just like the Phoenix Mercury, the Phoenix Suns, can go ahead and step up to that and deliver. That's all I have to say.
Deliver, execute, absolutely. Like, and if it's Jordan Ott, if it's Brian Gregory, whoever it is, it's enough talk. It's enough talk, and it's not their fault, right? They just got in these roles, right? And I give Ishbia credit for what he's done for the Mercury, and revamping a lot of what's going on. But at the end of the day, this is a big year. This is a big year. You can't just keep paying head coaches. That's not how it works. You can't do that. No. It's not like regular business where you can just keep hiring and firing and hiring and firing. Sports takes time to develop. And what I was going to say about the other big three is that, these are all guys that are focused on the offensive side of the ball. Now, obviously, Devin Booker has shown us a lot in terms of what he's able to do on defense, what he's able to do as a ball handler, as a ball distributor. But at the end of the day, what I want from Devin Booker, what I need from Devin Booker for our team to be as good as it can be is maybe distribute a little bit, but that can't be his main thing, right? And that's where you got someone like Bradley Beal on such a tough contract, no trade clause. Like that's such a tough contract. That's really I still don't believe that the Kevin Durant deal was a mistake at the time. I do believe that Beal deal is where it really
definitely
this team, and it really made it tough. Because then again, when we talked about the playoffs, it's all about matchups, and then a ton of matchups become a big problem for that team. And Kevin Durant, we know he's capable on defense, but he's just not what he used to be as far as the youth of being able to defend that hard and be relied on to do all that and to bang down low with the bigs and all that stuff. He does so many amazing things. And oh my God, averaging 27 points per game on 46% shooting. Like, he's still that guy. Make no mistake about it.
No, definitely.
But as far as how it comes together for championship contention, we're talking about over here, up here past the screen. You can't even see championship contention. That takes another level of cohesion. And that's what we're seeing in the Mercury, where Kalia Copper likes to get out and leak. Alyssa Thomas likes to push the ball.
And get in your face.
Likes to slap. Yeah. And they'll all get in your face if you give them a chance too. Kalia Copper is slashing. Satu Sabali can do a little bit of everything. That's what I mean by it makes more sense. It actually clicks together as a big three. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the Suns go. Kevin Durant, he could end up in a lot of different places right now. He could end up staying here. I know people don't want to believe it. But he could end up staying here, and I wouldn't be mad about it. So we'll see. I think there's gonna have to be, and I think they did a good attempt at trying to fill in the needs last year, like Tyus Jones. That was a good thought. They got him on a bargain. But at the end of the day, defensively, you can't play all those guys together. You just can't. Not in this league. And you needed more athleticism. You needed more of a lot of things. But we'll see. It's going to be fun. Point is, the Mercury are looking legit as heck this year. And if you don't know, you won't know unless you tune in, because this is a team worth your time, Phoenicians.
Definitely. And talking about tuning in, you also have to vote.
Right.
All-Star voting is here for the WNBA. And I just pulled up my list here. We have Satu, the Unicorn Sabali. We have also Alyssa Thomas. She, I am so glad she's on there. Oh my goodness. I hope we get all of our 3 gals in there. Kalia, of course, Copper, how can you not? So X Factor, Phoenix basketball fans, whether you're a Mercury fan or not, come on, support our women's basketball, our Mercury. I actually need to go out and do my voting too today. Don't forget to do your voting. We want to see our girls and see all of our Mercury
in there. Voting, right?
Just as we did last year.
That's right. Isn't it double? Is it double?
Yes.
Today?
Yeah. I think it's double today. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Well, get out there. Get out there, people.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, every single one of these women deserve to be on, in my opinion, just how well they played on that All-Star roster, or to at least for voting wise, and to be on the All-Star game. But of course, only so many can go. And I just, I'm excited to see our Mercury and having 3 of them go again. So that would be wonderful. But I want to go ahead and move this along and talk a little bit. We'll try not to get down too far down the rabbit hole with this one, but I don't know.
If it's what I think it is, if we're still talking about the WNBA, we might get stuck a little bit.
We might get stuck a little bit and just have to share one of our other segments here.
Yeah.
And it's just, how can you just not talk about it?
If we have to sacrifice something else, it's okay.
Yes, definitely. It's the officiating.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it here, and the X Factor has definitely expressed their displeasure at PHX Arena, where even the players as well have expressed how unhappy they've been with it. They are not making, in my opinion, the calls that they should be making.
Mm-hmm.
They're not calling the fouls. They're missing a lot of traveling. There's just so much. There's like a list. If I would have made it, I still would be making that list right now. So Nate, coach for the Mercury, Nate Tibbetts, was asked at the last home game for the Mercury before they went on the road about the officiating. I believe it was the last or the second to last. Of course, he doesn't want to get fined, but you can tell with that he had his own opinion and own, way of how he felt about things. And the players, they've actually also had expressed how they feel about that and how unhappy and how they have to do a better job. Because sometimes I question myself and be like, hey, what game are you watching? It seems like there many times, not only for, Mercury games. I've seen it also when it's on TV with other teams or games I've seen. Sometimes it feels like they're playing favorites. I don't know. At least appears that way, or at least not favorite team, but maybe favorite players. I don't know. At least that's what it looks like. Then we saw a little bit of what happened this last weekend, the previous weekend with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham and Spicy Sophie. You know, she was here in the Mercury.
Never change, Sophie. Never change.
Never change. And that's what I love about Sophie, and I miss about Sophie. You know,
Yeah.
there's a reason why she's called Spicy Sophie. She got
Yeah.
a little bit more than spicy.
Besides the spicy margarita that everybody loved.
Yes. You know, and she backed up her teammate, you know,
Yeah.
and again, it had to do with the officiating and those calls not being called, you know, those fouls. So, E, what is your thought on this? What does the NBA need to change, do better with officiating? Does the commissioner need to do anything, change? Because I don't know. And just like in WNBA, and the same thing is happening in the NBA, maybe worse. I don't know. We won't go down that rabbit hole. Let's just stay with the WNBA. I don't know. Talk to me.
Honestly, bad refereeing is in every sport. Officiating like this will always be a discussion. It will always be a conversation. Maybe do they have to adjust to a little bit extra physicality than they've been used to in the past? Maybe. I have to kind of look at those numbers to be sure. But at the end of the day, that's part of the game. And I think, you know, what people need to embrace is that physicality. Is you know, if we're talking about the Caitlin Clark bit specifically, right? Just like Michael Jordan had, and when he had to deal with, you know, Dennis Rodman and you know, the Detroit Pistons beating the crap out of him, beating the you know what out of him. Caitlin Clark's going through the same thing, and to me, let's say that's that situation specifically, right? Where there was the trash talk and the shoving and the pushing, the tech, the flagrants. I love it. And every player standing up for their teammate, I love that.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And then, yes, the Sophie Cunningham foul was a dangerous one. But I could have told you from a mile away that was once that fast break started. I'm like, oh baby,
You can see
here
her
we
coming
go.
a mile away.
Like this is about to be. This is
if
about
you
to
know
be
Sophie, that is, yeah.
Right, because we know Sophie too, right? Like around here, so we knew, you know, on that fast break. But you know what else I love? No suspensions handed out by the league afterwards. No suspensions. Let them play. I'm all about it. I don't know if it's I don't know if I'm maybe on the minority with it when it comes to this kind of thing, but you know, as far as, you know, the Mercury and the you know, fouls, no calls, this and that, it's just, that's just part of the sport. That's just part of it all. That's going to be every year, every time the discussion. People don't forget, as far as what we watched as fans of the sport, you know, the past couple of years, is Diana Taurasi getting tech after tech after tech, and
the most techs in WNBA history.
Right, that's exactly right. And I even asked her in her retirement, what was her favorite technical, and she had an answer for me. You know, like that has been. That's all good. And don't forget, a couple of years ago, they had, what was it? Like 4 different players, like either got suspended or were on or that was last year, got suspended or were on the line of being suspended for having too many technicals. Yeah, that was last year.
Last season, yep.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, you know, like we're used to that around here. Okay. So it's all good regarding that. That's just part of the game. But what I don't want to get in, like what I don't buy personally, is that it's like the favorite thing, or if they're protecting Caitlin, or if this or that. Listen, I love Caitlin Clark. I think she's amazing. I think she's amazing for women's basketball. I think she's amazing for sports in general. I mean, people, and you know, people like you and me have been fans of this game for a long time, and the product has been here. The eyeballs and the investment hasn't been here. That's the difference. We're seeing the investment finally in women's athletics across the board because they see that there is quality here. But Kaylin has brought a lot more eyeballs that wouldn't have been here before, and that comes with a whole nother level of scrutiny that I feel like a lot of people in the sport that we've already been in this and we love this and we're used to it aren't used to that, that level of eyeballs. And I've had people that haven't cared about women's sports hitting me up about, did you see this or that regarding it? And that warms my heart. That's what it's all about. That to me is good for the game. When there is this level of physicality, when it does get a little spicy, when it does get a little nasty. At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is a competitor just like everybody else. She's talking trash just like everybody else, maybe more. We know that she welcomes it. She even told one of the players, I can do whatever I want, and then pushed her. And they have a Big Ten rivalry between those two specifically. But okay, like I'm all good with that. So it makes me happy. It shows that people are watching. It gives a little bit of extra something that we just said it earlier that maybe the NBA doesn't even have right now, as far as that level of kind of gritty fighting fire. That I think is good for the ratings. And you know what?
Definitely.
Good for the sport too, as a whole, from that perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm just saying, there's a call that needs, a foul that needs to be called, call it. I'm all totally fine with, like, getting in your face and playing basketball and getting right in there and getting people's faces. Totally do not take that away. But I think some of that can be done a little bit better as far as that goes. And I don't know.
And I will give you this. Nobody calls travels anymore at all. In anything, WNBA or NBA, travels are not being called anymore. And you're right. They are traveling. They are definitely traveling. But they don't call that anymore. So
I lose count every single game. So keeping on with basketball, I want to go ahead and go down to college basketball.
All right.
With ASU, there's changes at the helm, men and women's basketball. I know we're running short on time here, and I do want to squeeze one segment in there. We can give it a couple of minutes too. But tell me a little bit about what's going on with ASU basketball, both men and women. As far as the women's basketball goes, they have Molly Miller as the new head coach for them. She's from GCU, and there's high expectations there. And also, it seems to be impacting in a positive way the recruiting for ASU, and that there may be some fierce competition come once the year starts for them. And then on the other hand, we have men's basketball with Bob Hurley, and kind of that's not so rosy there. And possibly are we going to see a change there at the head coach position?
So we'll start with Molly Miller. I know her well from GCU already. Wow, what a great pick. What a great coach. That was the right choice. That was the right choice to make at this juncture. And there were great options as well. Breon January would have been great. Nikki Blue would have been great. There were options that would have been fantastic. Either way, no matter how you slice it. But Molly Miller already, recruiting to this city, recruiting to this area, familiar with everything, success, one of the best season in GCU women's basketball last year ever. Yes. No doubt what she's going to bring to this program, and what she's already brought to this program before the season even started, is a refreshing energy to a level that I don't think most people were ready for, because Molly Miller isn't talk. She is action, and she shows it with, first of all, her teams. For people who don't know, get ready, because they're going to hang their hats just like the Mercury do on the defensive side of the ball. And when I say hang their hats, I mean it. I mean, they're going to be all over everything. Really similar to what we saw from the Charlie Turner Thorn teams, who obviously CTT has been big in involvement in helping Molly and talking with Molly and being a mentor to her in this role change, if you will, in her career. And so we're going to see a lot of that. You said it, the recruiting has been off the charts. We've seen that develop and the groundswell develop where, they get one recruit, second recruit. Okay, here comes another recruit. Boom, boom, boom. And it starts to just stack one on top of the other. And not only that, also Molly Miller's coaching staff, and I'm going to pull it up right now, is one to behold with a lot of good talent on the staff that we know is going to help out a lot. Now, I want to pull it up just to make sure that I don't miss anybody on her staff, but she has surrounded herself with experience too, and that's a big thing. She obviously has experience, but experience to the level that we can say for sure, okay, this is something special. Specifically, I'm talking about Stephanie Norman coming from Louisville. She is the associate head coach and director of basketball strategy. She was doing great in Louisville. She was doing great. She didn't need to go anywhere. But Molly Miller is the one that brought her home. And when I say brought her home, I mean Stephanie Norman was a Sun Devil as well. And it took a lot of talking to get her to come home. And the way Molly put it, pulling on her heartstrings to get her back. But she did it. She did it. And we're going to see this team come together. Go into one of her practices. You could see the energy, like I mentioned earlier, was so right. I mean, it was a scrimmage, but they're sprinting up and down. The defense was all over the place. I mean, I can talk all I want. Y'all just got to see it for yourself, and you will see it for yourself because Molly Miller is no joke, and you're going to learn. Like I said, if you don't know, you won't know unless you tune in. So you got to check that out. She is going to make noise already in her first year. I can tell you that right now because the bar, unfortunately, in the past couple of years is set so low, for women's basketball at ASU after such an incredible run for so long that I don't think people are expecting a lot. So it will definitely beat people's expectations, in my opinion. Now, I'll make this part a little quicker. Listen, Bobby Hurley, he said it himself. My back is against the wall. It's as simple as that. The contract is ending. No contract renewal has happened. You can argue that unless he makes some crazy run at the NCAA tournament, it's kind of going to be it. It kind of will be the swan song. And I'm not saying that against him personally at all. I think, first of all, no matter how frustrating, how tough any season has been, he's always been great with the media. Always. And that is worth mentioning. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's been kind of the same story with these Bobby Hurley teams, great non-conference. Then the conference comes around and it just drops. And there's bumps, turbulence, and then a player will leave in the middle of the season for undisclosed reasons. And then we're kind of starting to see the picture a little bit better. And then there may be a bubble team or not at all, and maybe they'll have a good Pac-12 tournament. At the time, it was the Pac-12 tournament. But that was it, and it's kind of like the same story. Great recruiting class, and just not doing a lot with it every year,
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about Lou Dort. That Lou Dort, Zylan Cheatham year where they had Remy Martin and, obviously Remy got hurt in the Pac-12 tournament. But, that's one of those years it was like, whoa, when you think back, like that was a team right there. That was a team that could have done something. But I don't know if I have felt that cohesion with too many of the teams. Last year's team, I thought the talent was fantastic. I mean, I thought, the ceiling was very high for that team.
Yeah, I thought they were going to make a run.
A lot of good characters on that team and guys that, it worked, that felt like it worked well together. But again, just not enough, in their first year in the Big 12, 13-20, that's tough. So we'll see, I think everybody's kind of rooting for Hurley. You want to, when you want to see a good guy do well, that, he cares about the city, he cares about the program. But I just think to be honest with you, it probably will be the last year for Hurley in the desert. But I think he took ASU, if it is, he took ASU to another level recruiting wise that I don't think they were at before. Yeah, you got the James Harden once in a blue moon, but they
Right.
really were starting to consistently get these high profile guys, 5-star, 4-star. I'm not all about the stars, but like 5-star, 4-star guys, a guy like Jaden Quaintance coming to ASU. Obviously, again, all these transfers, that's the hard part about this era with the transfer portal. But Bobby Hurley did that, consistently bringing these recruits here. And that to me is taking ASU another step up. Them being a bubble team for a few of those years, yeah, it's not very satisfying because you're like not in the tournament, but you're kind of in the tournament kind of thing, or one round, whatever. But that was some kind of consistency that he was starting to build. The past couple of years, that consistency dropped off. So, it's going to be interesting, but that's just the way I see it. That it may be his last one in the desert.
Yeah. Well, if it is, we'll try to enjoy it, take it all in,
Yes.
and just hoping for the best. And we will see what happens. But he's a great guy, and like you mentioned, great with the media. And if it is, he will definitely be missed. But real quick, I want to go ahead and see if we can do this in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
And I'll
I
turn
know.
the
I
floor
didn't make
over to
that one
you
fast
on
enough.
this.
I know.
You're good. Is the Valley Suns. We cannot, close out the show without, talking Valley Suns in this basketball show. So give me,
Yes.
You're familiar with the Valley Suns. They've did well this last season. Give me your season review, your grade for the Valley Suns, and how tell me a little bit about the culture for them down there, and how does that help both Valley Suns and the Phoenix Suns interchangeably with player development and beyond. So I'll give you, let's say, 2 minutes and we can wrap it up.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, we got to see what the Valley Suns are all about last year. The community got to feel what they're all about. Being in Tempe, I loved it. Being at Mullet Arena, that was so fun. I think for the community to feel that, okay, even when the Suns or when the Phoenix Suns, the big team, aren't having a game, that they can still come and feel Suns basketball and see what it's all about. Colin Gillespie, fantastic. Ty Washington, fantastic. They got their opportunities. Of course, Oso Iguodaro, great. With all those injuries that happened this year, they had their chances to go and play on the team and earn their spot, maybe earn a contract somewhere else, as maybe next year, we'll see, or overseas for sure. So that's part of the magic of the Valley Suns, right? Is that you get to see these players that you normally wouldn't get to see, and you get to see them be the stars when they come back to play in Mullet Arena. But when it comes to the season as a whole, you can't ask for too much more than what you got out of the Valley Suns. I mean, the semifinals, a high level 3-point shooting team. John Little did a great job, making sure that they were playing Suns basketball. So then when they got to the bigger team in the Phoenix Suns, when they needed to sub in, it definitely felt like these are guys that are familiar with the system, that they didn't feel like they were just out of it. That's why you saw a guy like Gillespie and Ty Washington too at times get crunch time minutes in the NBA, get big minutes and perform in those opportunities. So you got to give them a lot of credit for that. And then you got to see again the community rally around the Valley Suns. Yes, it didn't fill the seats the way a lot of people were hoping, but the kids that want to be inspired, the kids that may not have a chance to go to the big Phoenix Suns games all the time, they had the chance to be up close and personal and intimate, kind of like spring training when you get to be a lot more intimate with these players. That's what the chance that they got. And then you had someone like Kevin Durant come to a game and check it out and show that he's a true hoop head. And then how exciting was that for these young kids? And it was on camp day, I believe, too. So these kids really got to see that. And as far as their grade for the season, I mean, nothing less than a B plus. I would even maybe say an A minus as far as, what they were able to do within their own season, but then also what they were able to do as far as developing the culture of the G League for this city in the inaugural season. That's not easy to do, and they were able to do it. So a lot of credit to the Valley Suns, and I'm excited for next year. Hopefully, I get to be alongside my guy Braden Bell doing some color next to his play-by-play or something. I just want to be a part of it in some way too. So hopefully, I get to do it again because that was fun, and all of this stuff that we talked about has contributed to the basketball culture of Arizona. And at the end of the day, Joanna, that's what it's all about for me.
Definitely. You definitely have to have that culture. Makes a tremendous impact in any sport and any team that you do play. But we actually right on time. We're able to go ahead and bring everything that we wanted to you guys in this episode of Sports Point of View. And Eliav, thank you for joining me today and talking basketball. I know we had a lot in there, and I'm glad we got it all in. Thank you for hanging in there with me.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me. That was a joy, and I'd be happy to join again anytime.
So before I do let you go ahead and if you can let our listeners, our audience know where they can find you and your work.
Yes, everything on social media. I am at Eliav Gabay, ELIAVGABAY on everything you can think of. And also, a lot of my content is on sports360az.com. We have a lot of great content, a lot of local, everything local actually based content. So if you're into community, if you're into local at every level, pro, college, high school, we're the people for you. So come on through sports360az.com, and I'm on every social media at Eliav Gabay. I appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Yes, definitely. Like he said it. He covers everything. His Twitter or X is packed, of everything local, and I love it. It's full of community and just covers everything. And also, we didn't get into it. We'll get into it next time, and you can tell us a little bit about your eats segments,
Yes.
and so those are so fun to watch. But he brings you a little bit of everything, so make sure to go ahead and check him out. Do not miss that. And that is a wrap for this week's Sports Point of View. A huge thank you to our special guest, Eliav Gabay, for joining the conversation and bringing the insight to us. New episodes drop every Saturday, breaking down Arizona sports, more on the no fluff and all talk here in Sports Point of View. Don't forget to download and listen and follow us from wherever it is that you do listen to podcasts, and follow us on social media at sports.pov.az. You can follow me, your host, Joanna Rosalie, on social media at J Rosalie. That's JROSALYE. But until next time, this was Sports Point of View, and we'll catch you next week.